It's just another night for Supernatural Girlz. Real stories, real answers to life's biggest supernatural mysteries. And now for another exciting interview with paranormal experts from this world and others. Here's your host, paranormal researcher Patricia Baker, on the one, the only Supernatural Girlz.
Patricia Baker. I'm here with my co-host, Patricia Kirkman, PK, all the way from scorching hot Tucson, Arizona.
Yay!
107, you told me, huh?
Yes, it's on my back patio. It's 107 right now. They said it's going to get down. It's going to start to drop. It's the fires around us that I'm more concerned about.
Oh, gosh, that's right. I was reading about that and saw it on the news. You've got some bad fires nearby.
Yes, in the mountains close by, there's what they call Summer Haven. Those people have already been evacuated back, and they've closed down the road up. So it's a little skittish, to say the least.
That's scary stuff, fire, especially, oh my God, where you're located. Well, we're going to say some prayers tonight. We have a great guest we're going to be introducing shortly, Christopher Macklin. He is a healing minister. He's here with us tonight. He's going to heal our audience. What a blessing. So we are lucky. Yes, we're so lucky to have him. He's the author of 2 books. We're going to say more about him shortly. But first, what's going on with the numbers? What's happening?
Well, we call this is a month where everybody's more concerned about their dollars and lack of cents. Let's put it that way. It's there's people wanting to be in control. They're really not being nice to one another right now. And if you remember last week, I said something was going to show up before this week started. And, of course, North Korea stepped right in. Don't like them fulfilling what I'm picking up. But people that feel that they're more in control of everyone else, that's the problem. We're all here together. You know, kind of let's hold hands and chain link it to make it better instead of punching each chance they get. But everything is about finances this month. And those that want to be in control, regardless of whether they deserve it or not, that's where the problem comes in. It's going to be interesting all month.
It sounds very challenging. And, you know, I always said, and I think you did too, or you at least agreed with me, that the country to watch that was most frightening would be North Korea.
Exactly.
And, you know, as much as people made fun of them in the past and said they were never going to, you know, be able to accomplish these outrageous goals of attacking us, they most certainly can. And it's something that I know the current administration has a close eye on, but it is really a frightening thing with that country.
Even if they were the worst of the worst, as I say, every fox finds a hole eventually. That's what I'm worried about, that they're going to find their, quote, one entry into things by accident, not necessarily by choice or our choice.
Exactly. Yes, I feel the same way you do. That's could be one lucky shot. We don't want to see that happen.
No.
So we've got to put our energies in the right direction. But first, we've got some paranormal news to talk about. Oh, my God. Now, everybody's got to go to the Facebook page, the Supernatural Girlz Facebook page. We've got some great stories. But what we're talking about tonight is a baby camp.
Yeah.
Where the parents are watching their baby, but guess what they see? Next to their baby is a ghost baby. You saw it, PK. In fact, I kept it up on my webpage because I'm looking at it and I'm going, and at first I thought, well, maybe it's the child, an imprint of the child. Yes, right.
But I'm looking at it, but the features aren't the same. There's enough of a difference that it certainly is not the same child. It's not a photo image. So it's a little strange.
And the parents didn't sound that concerned.
Well, no, but they don't have to change an extra set of diapers, so they're not worried.
I'm telling you, I would be out of my mind. I mean, even though they said they weren't concerned because their baby wasn't concerned. I don't know about that. I'd want to dig a little deeper to find out more about that ghost child. So
it may have been that, if you think about hypothetically, maybe the child was a twin.
Well, it's quite possible. Now, if that were the case, then that's something different.
Don't
But the
know.
parents didn't allude to that, so
But they
I don't
may
know.
not
But
have been aware
everybody,
that twin planning, when they started, the thought may have been that they wanted to be twins, and one decided to check out.
yeah, that's quite possible. Quite possible. But my God. I mean,
Come up
go
with
look
false
at that, everybody, on
signs.
the Facebook page. It is an amazing still shot that they have there, as well as the story. Don't miss it. It is really incredible. The veil's getting thinner and thinner, everybody. And we all know it, especially here on Supernatural Girlz, right?
Definitely.
So, okay, now where are those beautiful books? We have books tonight, right?
These books?
There you go. Those are the books right
Yes,
there. They are written by our guest, Christopher Macklin. He is a British healer, and he is extremely talented. He is also a medium. He's the author of these two books, in Dissolving the Enigma of Divine Healing and Divine Transcendence. Both of them you can find on Amazon.com. And he does workshops. He does group healings. He does individual healings. And Chris is also very well attuned to the things that prevent us from being healed, the things that stand in our way, whether it's an entity or some dark force. Chris is on top of it. He is going to inform us tonight as to what's what, how he does the healing he does, and we're very honored to have him on the show with us, aren't we?
Definitely we are.
Yes.
Definitely we are. We wish we could put you in our pocket because the information you have to offer is just fabulous.
It is great. Yes, these books were wonderful. Again, Divine Transcendence and Dissolving the Enigma of Divine Healing. So welcome, Chris, to the show. Chris, welcome.
Oh, bless you. Thanks for having me on. It's wonderful. Bless you.
Great having you here. Thank you so
Definitely.
much. Now, your life is very interesting in and of itself. Everybody talks about their challenges and what brought them to this place. So tell us, because you've had some challenges in your life, and you've had to learn some things the hard way, as we all have, right? And it brought you to this wonderful place of offering your healing energies to all of us. So what happened to you? What brought you here?
Well, I'll go very quickly. So since the age of 4, I remember, I was born, and the age of 4, I used to have Anunnaki sitting on the bottom of bed. And, oh my God, there's a reptilian, and I forgot to, oh darling, it's just, it's just imagination, but it's there, and it was kind of snarling, and that dark as heck feeling you get in your heart, like, oh, this thing's not good, and so you're 4, and like, well, anyway, go back to bed, so father goes out, and it's still sitting there, and so I learned very quickly, I just, get out of my bedroom. It went. Oh, that worked, So, and I got this inner power, So anyway, they kept coming around, got rid of them. Eventually, they gave up. And then later on, I was seeing like ships. Dad, there's a craft in the sky. Oh, it's just imagination, And I think I realized very quickly that if I kept doing this, he's going to send me down the hospital and probably give you some tranquilizers, or something, So. Right. I learned very quickly to manage it myself, and I realized other people couldn't see things. I can see people around. I can see through the veil. I can see reptilians, walking around people, attached to them. I thought, oh, he's got a reptilian, but you couldn't tell people that. So eventually I just learned to...
Now, let me ask you, because you say you saw these reptilians attached to people. I mean, what did that look like? I mean, were they, like, literally hanging on them in some way? I mean, what do you mean when you say attached?
They kind of sit in the abdomen. You can see that their abdomen came out. They kind of sit in the abdomen. They hang on the shoulders, and then they're right above them. So and you look at this, go, wow, it's a reptilian.
Oh, wow, that's right.
And so, but I learned to shut it off as well. I can switch it on or shut it off because you don't want to see it all the time. When you're amongst people, you don't want to go in a huge crowd and see all this reptilian manipulation. So I'm able to shut it down. It's weird. You can switch it out, and it's really useful because when you're healing people. I always look at, oh, you've got an attachment, it's snarling at me, at the moment. And, as soon as we strip it out, I actually just grab them. If we're in a group healing, what I do is put a portal around and get the Makil's escorted out of the body, and you can feel it leave, it's amazing. And, if you think about things like fibromyalgia, I mean, so many people have got fibromyalgia. It's the top word. I've got fibromyalgia. It's mine, I've got it. And, are you kidding? Fibromyalgia. So I always say, well, you've gone to the doctor, he doesn't know what's wrong with you, so he said you've got fibromyalgia because that's the best you can do, you know. And fibromyalgia actually is a symptom of reptilian. So, you know, you get some emotion, your vibration drops. When your vibration's precarious, the reptilians can attach to you. Once they attach to you, they sit in the abdomen, drop the vibration of the liver, you get headaches, you know, so your liver's not functioning properly. Drop the vibration of the adrenals, so you feel exhausted all the time. It's hanging in your shoulders, so you might start to get arthritis in your wrists because there's no meridian flow down your arms, you know. And it taps in the lower back, so it destroys the L4, L5 disc, it bulges, and so you get sciatica, you know. Oh, this is sounded like a little bit like fibromyalgia. And of course, because of the toxins, because your liver can't process the toxins, you've got toxins in your bone, you know, your muscles and your joints, and so they ache, and that's, you know, classic. We've got rid of it.
It sounds like there's a lot of reptilians around doing this to people.
Oh, millions of them. There's way, way more, and they're very clever. I mean, they live to something like 1,500 years, and the older they get, the more dark they get, and they're very cunning. I mean, and they hunt in packs. There can be like 7 or 8 with you. So if you look at schizophrenia, for example, schizophrenic people are really gifted, you know. They're not mental, they're really gifted. So they see them, they hear them. You know, look at Beautiful Mind, that film. It was amazing, you know, but they see them. So if you learn how to manage them, what you need to do is block them out, remove them. The problem with schizophrenic people is they start to befriend them, and so if one goes, they're very clever, because, you know, if one's called Bert, you know, okay, I'm reptilian Bert, I'm your friend. If you remove it, then the next one comes, oh, I'm still Bert, you know, and so they, well, I thought we got rid of one and it's still here, but actually its name is something else, but they pretend to be something they're not. And so, you know. How
confusing, gosh.
So, you know, it confuses, you know, completely. So that's why schizophrenia, you know, they get discombobulated, you know, because, and what they've got to do is get their vibration above what I call in quotes the demonic, above these entities, so that they can't go anywhere near, you know. And so it's really important, you know, part of the healing is that you know, normally it takes a few sessions to get your vibration. So you get this inner strength, you get your worthiness back, you think, right, I'm a God being, I'm ready to get out there and suck it to the world, you know. And it's no use being a victim, like, oh, woe is me, and I'm all in debt and everything else. That won't do, you know.
Right.
You've got to get over yourself. And so how do you get over yourself? Well, you've got to, first of all, remove the reptilian that's caused the problem in the first place. You know, clear the heart chakra, which is on the central meridian from the crown to the groin. That means you've got energy flow down all the chakra points, and so you're going to start blossoming. You get this inner strength. You're leaping out of bed in the morning. Wow, I feel blessed, and you're having a great day.
Hey, there's not a lot of people that feel that way, so that's.
Oh, I feel like that every day. Can't you tell?
You do. And you're going to make us feel that good.
That's right. Not a doubt in my mind. He will. He will.
Right.
Now,
when the Anunnaki showed up at your bedside when you were a small child, what were they after? Were they trying to control you?
Yeah, they were trying to attach to me. I felt it, and it got closer and closer. You get this, like, you know, have you ever felt that dark as hell feel, that, you know, and as it got closer, you know, and I realized I've got to get this thing out, you know, and that's why I just got the almighty strength. Get out, you know, command it to leave. But that's the thing, you know, if you look at my prayers, and I don't like the word prayer per se, but people, you know, recognize prayers, but it's a map of intent. A prayer is just a map of intent. And so, you know, the prayers say, I command you, God, to remove this. And, you know, people say, well, I can't command God. Well, why not? You know, you're not worthy because you are God. You know, you're a God being. So if you believe you're a God being, you're part of God, then you're commanding yourself. If you don't believe that and it's the big cheese in the sky, then you say, okay, big cheese in the sky, I'm commanding you to do something. But it's okay. It's not rude. And then it rebalances itself and says, I thank you, God, and send you my unconditional love, so be it. So it's a well-balanced prayer. If you say, I demand you, God, that's rude and obnoxious, but the command is an invocation of absolute wanting, you know, and you've got to get that. Because there's radionics. I don't really know this, but if you manifest, look at manifestation, and you know, doing a prayer is manifesting that I'm protected. And so if you manifest and say, okay, God, look, I want a car because I need to get to work, then there's nothing wrong with that. If you say, God, I need a Bentley to show off to everyone in town, and I need to get to work as well, that's greedy and you don't need it, you know. And so it's about the frequencies, but the God frequency has a radionic blanket over this planet to actually try and block out. So if you want to get a thought out there, because you've got, you know, nerve endings in your brain, if you send a thought, it's like an aerial, and it sends a thought out. It's got to be a really powerful thought to break through the darkness. And And that's the thing, I command you, God, even clench it, I command you, God, that I want it done right now, you know, and I send you my unconditional love. You've got to put all your might into it. If not.
Yeah, that makes sense, Chris, because I've noticed, especially lately in the last few years, it does seem like there is trouble in heaven, is what I call it, is according to a dream I had. It's like the dark forces have taken such hold of things, people, or events, that it takes more effort to connect to the light. And I'm glad that you're sharing all of this with us about how to connect and how to say this so passionately that we can break through that layer of darkness, because it is a pretty strong layer.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, and I was saying before, you know, I'm connected to the Galactic Federation. I went, you know, and had a meeting and chaired a meeting with them. You know, there's 3 of us who chaired the meeting with them. And we went back 7 times. We've removed 60% of the reptilians off this planet. Now, like I was saying before, what's the difference between violation, if someone violates your body, or education? And so the dark is there to educate, as long as it doesn't get too dark where it's manipulating so badly that it's a violation. And so where do you stop? And the answer is, I'm not sure, you know, I'll leave it to God. But, you know, I went to the Galactic Federation, you know, it's chaired by the Melchizedeks plus, you know, a load of other beings, like millions of them. And they agreed to sweep the planet of 60% of the reptilians who are violating people. Because if a reptilian attacks you, that's a violation.
It is a violation.
But if you know if you know they exist and they can attach you, then that's an education, because they attach you and you didn't say the prayers or block them out, then that's your problem. But most people don't know because they're ignorant, and it's not fair, you know. And the same with Zeta Greys, they're abducting people, stealing bits of people like eggs, sperm, to recreate their humanoids because they've destroyed their planet. Now they're trying to destroy ours by giving us technology that we really don't need, and so they've swept them off the planet. They're completely off.
Do you have the experience of any extraterrestrials being into our benefit, helping us?
Oh yeah, there's loads of them. Yeah, there's the Actorians. The Actorians actually swept the planet for us because they work very close to Melchizedeks. You know, Palladians are here. You know, Archangel Michael is an ancient Palladian. You know, he comes down and he's helping everyone. There's loads and loads. You know, Metatron. You know, there's the Andromedans, Lemurians. They're also planting, you know, esoteric crystal and crystal beds. They're reprogramming to give more, you know, to more vibration. You know, because we're transcending, like you say. The veil's so thin. I mean, I get so many people saying, "Oh, I've got karma in this lifetime." You're born with no karma. What happens though is that I call it esoteric transference, because the veil's so thin. It's never been so thin before between 2 dimensions, like the 3rd and the 5th dimension. It's getting so thin that what happens is, you know, if you do your life review and say, "Okay, I'm going back," sometimes things ride in on the soul that shouldn't do, because the veil should be, you know, should be shut down, but it's not. It's so thin, and so things are riding through. Like, you know, you might have a neck ache because you got your head chopped off in the last life, or whatever it is, or, you know, you had a sword through, or, you know, you've got, you know, heart problems because, and those stuck energies, they're riding on the soul, they imprint in the body, and then they become cellular level memory. And that's why we have past life clearing, to clear that. You know, it's really important. People say, "Oh, it's karma." It's not karma. You're not born here with no karma. How can you look at a beautiful baby and say, "You've got karma"? You know, it's ridiculous. You know, come on, get over yourself. You know,
right. Wow.
So pure, you know.
Yeah.
No karma. And when you have your life review, you know, I mean, when you pass and you have your life review, you're plugged in. You experience all of your lifetime, all the emotions around, you know, people within you. You know, "Oh my God, I feel the emotion of mum because I did this to her, or dad because I did that to her, or, you know, ex-wife." And so once you've been through that, you can say, "Wow, I got this lifetime pretty badly wrong," you know. And they say, "Okay, go back down, learn again." And that's the thing. It's a soul recycling process. The Palladians, Sumerians, and Actorians are also involved in, you know, the tree of life. They bring the soul back, and, you know, you learn again 100,000 times until you achieve, in quotes, the void, Christ consciousness, whatever you want to call it, where, you know, you've got rid of all your trigger points, you feel in bliss, and, you know, yeah, you've got it. It's like, you know, I always do a quote from Jesus. I'm not a Christian, but I do love Jesus' teachings because, and I love Buddha's teachings. They're all the same. They talk about unconditional love, but he said, all you believe in me, it wasn't me, it was my teachings. All you believe in my teachings will have everlasting life. That means if you get it in this life, you don't have to come back here again.
Right, exactly.
You'll stay up
there. Yeah, I know.
Nice.
Yeah, it'd be nice to fly past the eagles at one point, not have to be recycled. But here's a question for you, Chris, from our chat room. This is from Starlight. Starlight wants to know, why do some people justify alien abductions as scientists just wanting to experiment on us, like how we experiment on ants without their consent?
Well, how do they justify it? That's an interesting thing, and I don't know how they justify it. I think it's a violation. It's wrong. Whoever you experiment on, I don't agree with experimentation at all. Because you don't have to. There's so many herbs and natural things in this world that are just incredible. But they experiment on things, obviously, because they refine things. It's like a strawberry. I mean, a strawberry's got cyanide in it. So if you have 10 ton of strawberries, and you extract enough cyanide to kill you, it'll kill you. And yet, if you eat those 10 ton of strawberries over a few years, it's balanced. It's basically balanced, and therefore, it won't harm you because, the cyanide isn't going to affect you because it's got other instruments in there to cancel it out,
Well, it sounds like what you're saying then is that they shouldn't be experimenting on us, and we shouldn't think that it's okay. And I agree with you. We shouldn't think that it's okay. It's not justifiable, and we're not giving our permission consciously for it, so it shouldn't be happening, right?
That's right. And
it is an invasion.
It's the same with pharmaceutical companies working on animals. Is that right? And the answer is no, because you don't need all this refined nonsense. I mean, there's an article about, chemotherapy. 97% of chemotherapy doesn't work,
I know. Isn't that amazing? It's like in here, everybody that I know of, just about everybody that gets diagnosed runs over and gets chemo. But yet 90% of it doesn't work.
And I think, the other 3% that does work, I think it's because people have got a crutch, and therefore they go, oh my God, I'm going to get healed, and so they heal themselves, They poison themselves at the same time, but at least they, I mean, we can work on tumours. A tumour is a common cold, and people come, they fail them, I've got stage 4 cancer, I'm going to die. Oh, don't be so ridiculous. You've got a common cold, The tumour is a symptom. What's the cause? Okay, 5 years ago, something major happened, and I see it. Oh, yeah, my son committed suicide. That's the cause. It's put huge blockage in your heart chakra, vibration drops, reptilians get attached, you get toxic, and suddenly, you get brain tumors, you get all sorts of weird stuff happening. Weird growth. A tumor is just the same as having calcification in your wrist. It's a common cold. It's a symptom. Find out the cause.
It creates this block, is what you're saying, in the energy.
Oh, yeah.
And so that block then prevents things from behaving normally, and then you get this new cell line, which is called cancer. Here's another question. This is from Hannah. She says, do we have any negative forces attached to us from birth to collect on the bad debts and bad deeds of our parents? That's an interesting question, because a lot of Native people believe there is some continuity with that.
Well, I think you can get, again, from past life, if you've got a history of different things happening, then you can actually, again, bring esoteric transfer. Again, it's not karma, but it accidentally slips through the veil, and so it comes in on this lifetime. It's only happened for the last 80 years. Before that, the veils were long enough that when you were born, you were just pure, and that's why if you look at it, over the last, say, 30, 40 years, things have just got darker and more manipulative and things, because everyone's got this stuck energy in their cells, and you just got to release it, But the answer is no.
Well, you do, but here's the thing. There, for a lot of indigenous people, there are beliefs about the ancestors. And I've heard this before, even with people in Australia who work with the Aborigines, that in order to really heal, you have to heal all the people that came before you, all of the generations, because the sins of the fathers are visited on the sons. That's an old phrase that may have some truth to it. What do you think about that?
Well, my personal opinion is that, what's happened in Ancestry is it only affects you through this transference of knowledge, because, like, for example, in a past life, if you've been someone, they've told you stories of ancestors, and you think, oh my goodness, and then you pass, you have your life review, and some of that imprint is still on your soul. It's going to come back in this lifetime. But it shouldn't, it's accidental. It's not, a curse or anything else. I mean, you can get curses in lifetime. I deal with them every day, especially.
Oh, really?
Curses.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Curses, ancient snake rituals about 3,500 years old. That's one of the darkest snake rituals. It goes back to Adam and Eve. Like voodoo, people do voodoo, and it's just an imprint of negative energy on you. All you've got to do is break the curse, and all the people involved, bring them before God and release them to God with unconditional love. It just gets rid of it. It removes it straight away, And I see that all the time on people's businesses. You remove the curse or ancient ritual, and suddenly the business blossoms. It's amazing. But the ancestor thing, I don't agree with. I mean, one thing I will say though is, in this current lifetime with parents, I deal with whole families because I'll guarantee if a child has got an entity, so are the parents, because, they hunt in packs. And so I remember having a Hispanic family, they were all sick. The daughter was on drugs, and the other daughter wanted a good job but couldn't get one, and the father had a bad knee, and the mother was angry. So I worked on the daughter first who wanted a good job. We removed the reptilians, got her back to her worthiness. She got a top job, a car, a phone. She was blown away, so Dad pipes up, I want to go. So we removed the entity from him, got his knee. He was great. So then the daughter was on drugs, removed the entity, stopped taking drugs. She was amazing. Then the last one was the mother who was angry, and we fixed her as well. So the whole family, the whole balance of that family was amazing because we could move the reptilian influence on it, and it blows me away,
Well, it blows us away too. I mean, to think that these reptilians have such power in our civilization. I mean, that is some scary stuff, and we can't see it like you can. I mean, you like you said.
Is a reptilian. I mean, the Queen of England, who's the head of Illuminati, is
now,
a reptilian.
We've heard this. Is she really a reptilian?
Oh gosh, yeah, she's a lizard. What's interesting is if you ever see her in person, what you should do, there's a prayer you can do. You see, shape-shifting beings, the reptilians can turn into human-looking things, but they always make a mistake. There's always something about them that's never the same. So what you need to do is, if you ever see in person, what you need to do is do a quick, again, map of intent, a prayer, and just say, ground yourself. I am of God. I ground myself, dear God, I command you, show this person in their true form. And what will happen is you'll get an opaque reptilian outline. They can't hide from that. And so if you ever think someone's a reptilian, it doesn't matter if it's a queen or somebody else, just do that, and you'll see like an opaque overlay. It's amazing, They can't hide.
Goodness.
Wow. I am shocked. She is a reptilian.
I'm going to go check my son.
And I'm British, and, I can't stand the sight of her, but Diana was very close to me. She's actually a split soul for me, so, there's a long story about that, but she's a Melchizedek being also.
Diana. She was so beautiful.
There's 5 of us here, Melchizedek beings, and she is one of them. She's still here, So.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Now, she was really a force of light, and she went through some terrible times with the royals. Yes. But, I mean, do you think she was murdered?
Well, it was a setup, It was a setup.
It was, yeah. The reptilians took her out?
Well, she's not taken out. She's still here. She never died.
Excuse me?
I'm sitting here going, huh?
Tell us more about that. That is wild. What do you mean she never died? I saw her funeral.
Well, you never saw the body. It's interesting because, you never believe everything you see,
Oh, no, I don't, but I'd be happy to know if she's still alive. God, she was amazing.
Well, go with the intuition. Is she still alive, yes or no? I know where she is, but...
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Now, what is the effect on her sons? Are they aware of it?
No. There's a whole
slew of the hard questions tonight.
No, it's just that
you're not leaving till you tell me.
Well, there's something about the negative. One of the Antichrist beings has been reborn, and there's stuff going on in there. I'm not going to go into that because it gets too kind of
it's too complicated.
What I will, well, it's not complicated. It's just that it's very close to be born. What I will say is that she removed herself out of this world because she had to, because it was getting too dark for her, and now she's rebalancing. She'll be back, You watch.
I hope so. She's sorely missed. Wow. Well, everybody, you're going to have to stay tuned to hear the rest of these stories. I mean, this is amazing information, Chris. We love having you here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. This is great.
When they say cliffhangers, you're not kidding. Really.
I know. Really. This is amazing. So, everybody, be sure to visit our Facebook page at Supernatural Girlz. Follow us on Twitter. And also sign up for our newsletter, The Fringe Files, at supernaturalgirls.com. And you'll get all the news, all the new shows coming up. We've got great things happening, as always. So fasten your seatbelts. This is going to be a very interesting ride for the rest of this show. And you're all going to get a healing from Chris. So stay tuned, everybody. You're listening to Supernatural Girlz Radio. We'll be right back. Your host, Patricia Baker. I am here with my co-host, PK, and our incredible guest tonight, Chris Macklin. He is a healer. He is from England, and he is enlightening us as to what we're up against to be healed. We are finding out about the reptilians. We're finding out about who's pulling our strings and what we need to do to stay safe and healthy in this world today. Chris is going to be doing a healing for all of us tonight on the show. So make sure you stay tuned. Let your friends and relatives know if they need a healing, they need to tune in tonight to the show. So, Chris, we were talking about some very fascinating things about the queen is a reptile. Okay, now we've got that squared away. But again, these reptilians, it's concerning to us. Because, again, we can't see them. And like you said, we need to raise our vibration so that we are not at risk. So you have prayers, and I want to bring this up because you have actual prayer apps that people can buy for a nominal amount of money, and they can help people raise their vibration, right?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, there's different prayers, like removing personal manipulation. If you're being manipulated, for example, the reptilians from the fourth dimension can watch you. They can be external, but if they watch you, if you ever, woken up, you feel discombobulated, you feel like, oh my God, butterflies in your stomach, ooh, what's happening? Something's not right, And the thing is, what you should think is, if something's not right, it's not right, and therefore you need to do something about it. Now, if these reptilians watch you, they're called remote viewers. They watch you from a distance. They connect their energy to you, and you feel as though you're going for an examination the next day, but you haven't revised. You feel like, and if you say the spiritual attack prayer 3 times or once, if it doesn't remove it once, say it 3 times, it will remove it. You'll get regrounded again. You think, oh my God, I feel so much better. But, if you've got something nauseous for no reason, it's because there might be radionics. They can transmit, arsenic into your stomach, and suddenly, oh, I feel so sick, for no reason. I haven't eaten anything. What's going on? And people, it must be no, it's not must be at all. Something's messing about with you. And it's so important. I remember, I'll give you a very quick story. I had a nun from the Vatican. She was in Memphis. So I went up to Memphis and I worked on, and I saw this nun, and she said, my life blocks. I said, oh, by God, it is, it's the Vatican. I said, what have you been doing? She goes, well, as a nun. Oh, okay. So I said, did you get a letter off the Pope? Yeah. I said, what does it say? I haven't got a clue. It's all weird symbology. So I remote viewed it. It was Luciferian symbology blocking her life, completely blocking her life. I said, right, Tuesday morning, 8 o'clock when you get home, we're going to do a ceremony in the morning. Now, you're going to laugh at this, but, you may think it's true or not. It's the God on the street you can phone. So I phoned her up, and she goes, there's a gale force 8 wind going on. Hang on a minute. And she said, I can't even light the paper because we had to do a ceremony, bring all the Vatican before God for justice, and we'll release them to God with unconditional, and then burn the paper and release that, all the symbology. She couldn't light a match or anything. It was a gale force 8 wind. So hang on a minute. Someone's messing about. So I did basically a map of intent, right, and I removed that manipulation. The wind completely stopped. She was kind of going, oh my God, the wind stopped. I said, well, of course it is. It's the Vatican who's messing about, So anyway,
Vatican?
The Vatican. So they were messing about, creating this wind, So what we did is we did the ceremony, and I brought, all the Illuminati. I was fed up with them by this time. Right, we're done, It's not for me to judge them, so I bought infinite levels wide and high through all space-time, continuum and every dimension, bought the whole lot before God for justice in only the way God knows how. I said, it's not for us to judge them, so we're going to release them to you with unconditional love and forgiveness. And we burnt the thing and said, right, all the symbology, God, we're going to take it to you. And, anyway, we did all that, and she felt completely different. 2 hours later, and I never get sick. I ran to the bathroom. I was violently sick. I'm talking physically sick. I never get sick. So while I was being sick, who's messing about? Oh, it's them. Took it out. It stopped. So they transmitted arsenic. And it was about 4 years ago. Very, very powerful people, the Vatican.
Yeah. Now tell us about this. I mean, so we've got reptilians under control. We understand that, but the Vatican, we've heard a lot about this, with Lucifer actually dictating what's going on there and being in charge. What is true about this? Tell us.
Oh, it's absolutely true, and the Luciferians are connected to the reptilians. They're connected to the Queen of England. She's the head of the Illuminati, which is connected, obviously, to the Masonic Lodge, 1 to 33 degrees. If you join the Masonic Lodge, it's a beautiful, it's just a business club. Until you get to 10 degrees, they say, you worship Lucifer. What?
Really?
Oh, Lucifer's in the light. Now, and then after that, it goes to 33 degrees. 34 to 37 degrees is Bohemian Grove. Now, I'm going to tell you a different little story. I've got a lady whose father is number 6 in Bohemian Grove at the top. And he's really well off. She was named an unusual name. I don't want to name her because it's unfair on her, bless her, but we're writing a book about the Illuminati fallout child. At the age of 3, she was, this is the abuse started at the age of 3. So she took her father dragged her to a house. They set it on fire and burnt everyone aside at the age of 3. And then it got worse, poisoning, raping, pillaging, you name it. Mendler was involved. And, I deal with these people every day. I've dealt with a lot of people fall out of the Illuminati. And it happens, They make them pregnant. They're on fetuses. They do sacrificial stuff beyond you'd ever imagine. Horrible.
This is very scary stuff, and to think that the Vatican sits on top of it is even worse. But let me ask you this, Chris, and you may not know the answer, but I'll ask you. There was a guest we had on the show John D'Souza, who talked about Antarctica, because there's a lot going on in Antarctica right now, which I'm sure you're aware of. And
there's a big base there, yeah.
Yes, and one of the things that he mentioned is that there is an entity there. Now, our guess is Lucifer, because that entity was summoning people, leaders of the world, to come and visit with him, or whatever it is. I don't know if it's Lucifer or who it is, but that was our guess on it. What do you think's going on down there in Antarctica? Is that part of all of this?
Oh, yeah, there's a whole Nazi thing going on, like you say, the world leaders. I mean, they're frightened to death because they're not in control. It's the bankers who are in control, and the Rothschilds and all these guys. When I went for my ceremony, it was really interesting because we had to do the civic test, and it said, okay, what defines the law in America? And it said the first 3 things, the first 3 words in the Constitution, we the people. You gotta be kidding, we the people. You have to be kidding. There's nothing to do. It's we the bankers, we the elite. It's nothing to do with the people, and it's really sad because it breaks my heart. And that's why I think I'm here to help, I mean, but, Well,
anyway, I mean, your healing goes beyond the physical, obviously.
Right.
You're here to free us from some of these other encumbrances that we're just becoming aware of that are truly frightening. Now, you mentioned, I want to bring this up too, that you're offering our audience a special package of a much discounted price for healings, etc. And what I'm going to do, Chris, is I'm going to write all this up, put it on our Facebook page so that people will know how to contact you if they're interested. I know there's a number of different possibilities, from crystal sets to actual physical healings that you'll be offering. And I think it's great. I mean, we're really grateful that you're on the show tonight. You know so much about all of this. But more importantly, you're a healer, and you're helping people. You're doing group healings. I wanted to also tell people about that, as well as individual healings. So there's a lot that you offer, and everybody needs to make themselves aware of it. So whether they have a physical illness or an emotional one, whether it's depression or cancer, this is something that you can help them address, right?
Oh, absolutely. And even worthiness. So many people are unworthy, and everyone's broke. I mean, how many people you've met? Oh, I'm super spiritual, love and light, but I'm broke. Because everyone who's spiritual is broke. Well, they're not.
That's the truth.
I've got to tell you a secret. If you're super spiritual, you're not broke. you've got all the abundance you could ever want, so you've got to get over yourself and realize, okay, I'm blocking myself, because I'm not quite super spiritual as I thought, so I better get into what I call divine alignment, where I now allow the flow to come in. And, believe you me, I've suffered it from myself, When I first got here, I troubled in accepting money for healings, and then this pastor sat me down and said, okay, it's like this, If you don't get, if you give everything out and don't get anything back, you'll just drain yourself. You'll drain all your energy, and that'll be it. You'll be bankrupt second time, no matter the first time. She said, the universe works on, rebalancing the energy, and it's true. I'll never forget, I had a guy sitting at the office, because we have Serenity and Alcoholics Anonymous stuff at the back of the office. They have their meetings, and we've got the front of the office. And, one day I came in, and this guy had been sitting out all night, God bless him, he said, have you got any water? I said, yeah, what's your story? Oh, I haven't eaten for a day or so. And I said, right, here's $40. So get yourself some gas, go and get yourself breakfast, and, I'll give you it back. I said, look, I want you to promise me one thing, that when you have the money to give back, you move it on. Don't ever give it back to me. I want you to move it on. Mm-hmm. And so he came back in the office, and he said, I remember, I've got your $40. I said, hang on, what did I tell you? He goes, can't remember. I said, that's $40. Go move it on. Give it to someone else and go and bless them and move the blessings on. I don't need the money, because God gives me money every day, God blesses me every day, and we have to move it on, It's so important to sort of help people, and from a pure heart. Don't give it and expect, oh, well, they didn't say thank you. Who cares we say thank you, We phoned the local electric company and put $4,000 into them every year at Christmas, and I remember she phoned back, you had our whole department in tears. I said, why is that? She said, well, we had a 74-year-old woman. She had really bad cancer. She could either afford two of the things, meds, food, or electric. She had to ditch one of them. And obviously the electric was kind of, wow. It's not looking good. And she said, you bridged the gap, and my whole department was in tears. And I always tell them it's a gift from God. Don't ever tell them where it came from, because it's just important to move it forward,
That's beautiful. Yes, we all need to remember that. Now, when you do healings for people, do you ever reach an impasse where something is too resistant or someone is too resistant and you can't bring them to a place of healing?
Very few times, but, I find mainly if you break it down, if people don't believe it, when you start the healing, they start to go, but oh my God, my lower back's better, my neck's better, my arthritis feels better, whatever it is, or my headaches have gone. And, they start to believe it, so people don't believe it's better, with some people who are just blocked because they're just not going to shift. I've only probably had one or two out of thousands and thousands of people, I mean, last year we did 10,500 healing sessions. We're going to do even more this year, and, I mean, I'm on the phone 14 hours a day, doing healings because it's not a job, it's a way of life, And that's why I always say with people with healing, don't just think, oh, I'm going to do 6 clients and I'm okay and, I can live. It's a way of life. You either show up or you get out. There's no half measures, show up. And so if you get a call at 11 o'clock at night, my daughter's trying to commit suicide. It's happened several times. I've come in the office, removed a draconian being, which is even darker than the reptilians. Within an hour, that girl was laughing her head off, and all the red face and scarry face had gone back to, normal, and she just looked amazing. And I remember that was the day before Mother's Day, and that mother texted me the next day. She said, I've got the best Mother's Day present I've ever had in my life. I've got my daughter back, and it just blew me away. It actually brought tears to my eyes, and I see this every day, But I think, if you're going to do healing, don't just talk about it, show up and be it. You've got to be it every single day, and help people, and be selfless, Don't have the ego, I see always holiness somebody, calling himself. Get over yourself, I'm just Christopher Macklin, I don't want to be, Archangel Chris or, whatever. Just be you, because that's the angelic name you were given. Love yourself, I'm Christopher Macklin. I don't even have a middle name. And it's funny because I remember phoning the bank in Phoenix. We were traveling to Los Angeles because we do the Conscious Live Expo. It's the biggest expo in the US. And we got diverted, so I ended up in Phoenix. I was phoning the bank to unlock one of the cards so we could go and have a coffee. And the bank said, what's your middle name? I said, oh, I do apologize. I said, I don't have one. I'm a commoner. And there was a doctor next to me. He burst into tears. He goes, oh, my God, that's so funny. It's just me, Christopher Macklin, no middle name, commoner.
That's great. Well, I've got a question for you from the chat room, Chris. This is from Tricia. She wants to know, does paying good deeds forward earn us a bonus point in the afterlife, or do we nullify it by even considering the rewards we may get in return?
No, I mean, I think, you should always, I think you're not going to worry about the returns. You've got to get into a place where you're just giving and don't have any expectations. I've learned a long time ago that I don't expect anything from anybody, and then I'm never disappointed. So if things happen, it blows me away. If things don't happen, I don't mind, because God bless them, that's their deal. So, you've got to get to a given thing where, don't even ask for thank you, because it's okay, because you've done your best. You've moved. It's like the ministry. I could, it's all me, it's mine. It's not, it's ours. God gave it to me to help as an instrument to actually give out to people, whether it's using it for, for going to expos and getting in front of more people, or whether it's giving it away, or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. We walk on the streets in New York. Normally I take $300 or $400 out of the ministry, and we just walk past, a person on the street, just give them $20, because I know they need it, and,
That's
don't.
beautiful. Yeah, nice. Very nice. Now, at what age, I have a question for you that came in on a text. At what age did you know that you were a healer?
I've just known I'm different, and I've been a whack job, My father thinks, he said, you're a complete fruitcake, and now he's gone to America, found God, what do I tell the neighbours? Now, think about this. This ministry does 50 healings a day. At the time he asked it, he did about 20. So I said, well, he said, is it like a church? I said, well, kind of, because he wouldn't understand it. How many services do you do a day? Now, remember, it's one-to-one healing services. So I said, Dad, 20. Oh, my God, he said, that must be... So he's got this thing of congregations going in and out of church 20 times a day. Like this. Oh, my God, it's huge, No, it's a healing practice, but, bless his heart. He's 82. He's been a crab all his life. I love him dearly, but he's still a crab, He just gets so caught up, and it's okay, I'll leave him to it, I don't buy into my energy. My mother was unconditional loving, but Dad's a crab.
You had to get it from someone, so you got a loving heart from her.
That's great.
Now, Chris, let's go back for a minute to something you mentioned about a draconian being that's even worse than a reptilian. Are there a lot of those around too, or not as many?
Not so many. They're on planet Nabaru. There has been more. I would say, reptilians, we pull them out every day. Draconians, I pull maybe once every 2 months. But they do make you really sick. If you get a draconian, by God, you'll know about it. You'll be chronically depressed, almost suicidal. You'll get cancer within weeks.
Wow.
You can get stroke symptoms if they move around. You can, your whole face changes. I remember a lady came in and she had a draconian attached to her, and she was dribbling around. She had been paralyzed. They did an MRI, couldn't find anything wrong. I said, "You've got a draconian." MRIs don't pick up draconians, of course. So she says, "What's that?" I said, "Don't worry about it. Let's get it." And I was chasing the thing. I was actually chasing it around the body. I couldn't grab it, and it was, the whole face was kind of like this, and I said, right, that's it, So put a portal around. I escorted it. Her whole face came back into shape just like that, And she got up.
Wow.
Face is normal. And she went away, and to this day, it's gone, stroke symptoms. So it's
Incredible.
Not always disease on the brain,
Now, have you worked with patients and doctors together? Excuse me.
Bless you.
Yeah, I have actually on some. Yeah, absolutely, and we've had amazing results. I worked with I only contacted him once, but I had a guy with. He had what a horrible place to have a cancer tumor. He had a cancer tumor between the end of his penis and his body. Huge tumor, and on the right lymph node. It was awful. So anyway, what happened is that he didn't quite believe, I'm going to take chemo and radio, but I'll carry on with you. Okay, so we started healing, and then he did 2 treatments of chemo, which is nothing, and they did 1 treatment of radiation. It gone down by 78%. So the doctor just said, we just want to check. Oh my God, it's gone down by 70. He said, this is not the chemo or radiation. What is it? He goes, well, I'm onto the phone to this bloke in Branson. He goes, so what's he doing? Well, he calls it divine healing, He said, look, I don't know what you're doing, but he said, whatever you're doing, do not change a thing. And because of that, he stopped the chemo straight away, and now, it's gone, gone. And it's happened to another person lately, breast cancers. If you get a snake being in your breast, it wraps around the breast, it sits there. So because you've got no meridian flow in your breast, fungal infections mutate, turn into cysts and tumors, so turn into cancer, and so what's the cause? Well, first of all, your vibration was low. You've got emotion. Secondly, the snake being got stuck in your breast, and so we take it out, get meridian flow going, so that's going to stop it. Third thing is, let's fry the tumor. We use a thing called tachyon energy, space-time continuum energy. It's only available in the 9th dimension or the ultimate dimension. It's not the same as Tesla's. It's different. It's very electrostatic. What it does is it changes the molecular structure of the tumor to benign for the body. So instead of a hard tumor, it turns it slowly into mushy cyst, and then Melchizedek beings go in and they actually break it down and put it back to the lymphatic system. So that's how the tumors drain out. It's amazing. I've done them in the brain. I've got one pancreatic cancer everywhere. With spinal cancer, I had a girl with spinal cancer at the age of 32, and tumors all down the spine. Couldn't even bend over. Now she walks around. She's perfectly normal. Amazing.
Gosh. Now, we talked a little bit offline about Lyme disease and all of the cofactors and the infections with that. And that's a little more stubborn, isn't it, than cancer and things like that?
Yeah. I mean, Lyme disease and Morgellons are the worst things to heal because it takes up to a year, sometimes even longer. And what it is Lyme disease is spirochete, but the new Lyme disease that have been developed, with technology from the Zeta Greys, is a stealth pathogen. The other Lyme disease was a derivative of like the plague and whatever, it was just a pathogen, so it replicated but not that quick. This stealth pathogen replicates at such an exponential rate that you have to really kill it off. No amount of herbs or anything can get in front of killing it off faster than it's replicated. So, and the problem is the co-infections are Epstein-Barr herpes, Babesia, Bartonella. Babesia lurks in the GI, causes paralyzation. You get ammonia in the brain, it's a neurotoxin, it kills off the brain, it kills off the nerves and the pathways, and so it's a really destructive disease, and it damages the liver. It paralyzes the liver and the kidneys, so you feel exhausted, you got GI problems, your liver, so you get brain fog because your liver can't process the toxin. So I've got hundreds of Lyme people, and we fixed them. I can't say it's cured because the FDA will come and arrest me. So what I can say is that we've eradicated it and it's never come back, because the thing is about Lyme is this, it's in the chemtrails. Borrelia, which is the spirochete of Lyme, is in the chemtrails. It gets in your body. You've got it. I've got it. But, some people get Lyme out of it and some people don't. It's like HIV. Some people get AIDS, some people don't. But you might have it in your body, but everyone's got the spirochete. And so what happens is agrobacterium, which is the GMO foods, triggers your DNA and damages it, and that's what allows it to replicate. And so it's really important to understand that, if you want to eradicate it, once you've got the Borrelia out of your system and it's gone, and the Lyme disease is over, then you have to do a DNA reset, and we change it back to the blueprint. It starts to manifest in the sacral point, goes out. It takes about 6 weeks, and it sends people absolutely bipolar, because their whole being is changing, So we've eradicated these.
Yeah, it sounds a lot more challenging because of all the different arms of this disease. Mm-hmm. But I'm glad to hear that you have success with it, because very few people do.
Well, no one. I've not come across anyone who's eradicated it. We have eradicated it. It takes a while, but we've got rid of it and kept it away, because it's great to get rid of it, but you're going to get it back because it's in the chemtrails and your body's susceptible to it replicating. So you're kind of wasting your time. So what you've got to do is reset the DNA to the blueprint, and we've done it, and I've got people 5-6 years ago, we got rid of it, it's gone, It's amazing, and same with HIV, same with Agent Orange, they're all almost the same. But if I can talk quickly about autism as well, if we've got time.
Yes, I think what we're going to do is we're going to take another break, and when we come back, we'll talk about autism, and then we'll have a healing for everybody, which will be really exciting. Yes,
definitely
right.
Excited about that.
Yes, and everybody, I will be posting on our Facebook page all of the special discounts that Chris is offering to our audience, Supernatural Girlz audience. And so I'll post that for everybody to see, and then you can take advantage of this offer that he's generously providing for just us. How about it? Isn't that nice? So you are listening to Supernatural Girlz Radio, everybody. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to Supernatural Girlz Radio. I'm your host, Patricia Baker, here with my co-host, PK, and our incredible guest tonight, Christopher Macklin. Now, for everybody to know, you can reach out to Christopher via his website, which is Christopher Macklin, Macklin Ministries.com. He also has apps available you can purchase at the App Store on your iPhone or iPad. And he has wonderful books available, Dissolving the Enigma of Divine Healing. That's one. PK, you got the other one.
There we go.
The other one is Divine Transcendence. So now...
Mike, sorry about that, folks.
We have... There's another beautiful book. Yeah. Now, Chris, we were talking a little bit off the air about leukemia. And you wanted to share a little bit about how leukemia happens and how you're able to get rid of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I've had a lot of people with leukemia, and the thing is about leukemia is that if your liver vibration drops below 20%, and they could do a enzyme test, it looks like it's functioning properly, but if you've got an entity sitting over your liver, it's paralyzing it. So it's not processed the toxins. So because it's not processing your toxins, the toxins are so bad in the body that normally it dump it under fat cells, but it can't make fat cells fast enough. So it's in the bloodstream, it's attacking the bone marrow and platelets. And so that's why, it's not making the hemoglobin properly, and so everything's destroyed. So I remember I had a lady, it was really interesting, this, if I can tell the story as well, because it kind of links to it. So what you need to do is obviously get the liver functionality back up, remove the entity, get rid of the emotion, get your body vibration up so the liver's functioning normally. And, my normal is between 90 and 100%. If you have 24 beers, it's probably going to be around 92 because it's processing toxins. If you have a really clean diet and you don't have any beers that week, then it's probably going to be 98, 100, but it should never go below 90. And I find below 20% functionality is when you've got a real problem. And so what you do is get liver functionality going, and then you just work on the platelets. They correct the platelets, and, game over. It's so easy to get rid of leukemia. But I had one lady, I remember she phoned me up, and, I started doing healing work. She goes, I see this big bright light above me. I thought, oh, God. And so I said, oh, okay. That must be the angelic realm. But actually what it was is they were expecting it to pass, and so they put a portal around her ready to take a soul to the fifth dimension. And so I didn't say anything, and I left it, and after about 4 or 5 sessions, it disappeared. And then she said, I now see sparkly angelic beings, like pings, I said, oh, thank God for that. She goes, why? I said, because they're actually expecting you to pass fairly soon, and so they put a portal around it. Now they've closed the portal because they know you're going to stay, and so now you're seeing the angelic beings moving and, working on your body instead of... It's just interesting that, so if you ever see a big white light, you're quite close to moving on, so, and, it's time to get healed, And so...
yeah, it is. I mean, it's late. Make that phone call.
Yeah, no, God, take me now. Well, it's quite interesting, and even things like, it's interesting because when people go in comas, I don't even know much about comas, but I've had people a year in comas, and what happens is if you have a car crash and it's not expected, your soul can go so fast out of your body, the umbilical cord, because it can find its way back to the umbilical cord, but if it breaks, it's gone, it's lost, and so you have to fish it out, bring it back, put it back in their body. So if their body's well enough, I always ask permission. Is their body well enough to receive the soul back? If it's a yeah, right, let's get it back. They wake up, So, oh my God, he's been in the coma for a year. Now he's just waking up and sitting up,
That's great news. Wow. My God, the families must be ecstatic. Now, we were also talking a little bit about autism. Do you want to share a little bit about healing that?
Yeah, it's interesting because, I'm working with somebody really close at the moment, and there's 3 types of autism. There's the really top-level starseed autism, which is that, this person's born, they have the MMR vaccine, the mercury in the vaccine, it blocks the pathways, and they need all the pathways to function. Otherwise, if any of the pathways are blocked by the mercury, they're off kilter. So those starseed, people, if they have the vaccine, will get, hit by autism. That's why it's so increasing. But their autoimmune is really strong. So it doesn't affect the autoimmune, it just affects the brain. And I'm healing one at the moment. The only problem is when you bring the mercury out, I realized that, I'm working on autism at the moment, and we're getting there, but when I did a release the other day, I found that the child involved got really sick because the mercury is draining and going through the system. So what I have to do is trap the mercury in the brain and get it released, so next time we're going to actually draw it out of the brain instead of drawing it out of the body. Because if it's in the body, it's going to really affect them badly, and they're very sensitive. Second type of autism is where there's a derivative of leprosy that's way more powerful than Lyme disease. They're putting it in the chemicals they spray on plants like Roundup. It's a spirochete, gets in the mother's body. Now, don't forget, spirochetes don't replicate unless your DNA is damaged and allow it to. So Get to the mother's body, they're okay. And then get to the baby's body. So, again, then when they grow up, MMR vaccine, it's got agrobacterium in it. Agrobacterium is the GMO substrate that actually triggers and damages the DNA. So those kids get really sick. They get lesions because it's worse than Lyme disease. It's a derivative of Lyme disease. It comes from leprosy, and they've developed the spirochete to replicate. So it's creating like lesions on the brain because of the co-infections and the toxin. Third one is chromosome 52. If that's gone off kilter, then that's from the parents. That's a genetic thing, And I'm working on all of them. We're getting success with all of them, so it's amazing.
That's terrific because, again, they're saying that in the next 20 years, these kids that are getting vaccinated and getting reactions to these vaccinations, what did they say on our show, PK? It was going to be like 1 in 20 were going to be autistic. It's some ridiculously high number. We need people like you to begin a healing process here, or else we're going to end up with a world of autistic people.
Well, what we're going to do is actually have group sessions. I just want to focus on autism and have group sessions, like we do the two group sessions on Tuesday.
That's a great idea.
Saturday at 4 o'clock. We do everything, but I think sometimes you have to focus on autism because it's a little bit more delicate because you've got to really watch those toxins, especially with the gifted kids. You can't have that mercury going, So we're going to work on it. I'm really excited about that.
That is exciting. Now, if people have children and they want to participate in that, will that be on your website?
Yeah, it will be soon. Yeah, absolutely. I'm working. We're actually upgrading the website. Everything's changing in the ministry. We're really going, we're going right up there at the moment. And like I said, I've got a new book about Morgellons and Lyme. It's coming out. It's called The History, Truth, and Healing of Morgellons and Lyme. It's a very controversial book. It even quotes governmental documents connected and signed by the Zeta Gray, beings that, believe it or not, they exist if you look for them, but people don't look for them. So what we're going to do is give them, if you go to this website and, you can actually get on the government websites and see these documents, it's amazing.
That is really amazing in a bad way, though. I mean, Morgellons is a horrible disease, as is Lyme. But to think that these things come from some place of weaponization, that is really frightening. But thank God you're finding ways to heal that. So you're going to do a healing for our audience tonight, and we are so blessed. Yay! Is right.
Come on, man.
We're excited.
I'm rolling
we
on.
are all excited.
So
talk us through this, Chris.
Well, what I'll do is I'll start the healing, and what I'll do is I'll explain what I'm doing and what you should be feeling. It's probably easier. I'm not going to do a whole healing because we've only got 13 minutes. But what I'll do is I'll do as far as we can go, and so you'll feel it. So let's all sit back, and what I'm going to do is remove the entity. So I want you to sit back, relax, and let's do a grounding prayer. So it's a map of intent, grounding map of intent. I want you to say, I am of God. So
I am of God.
I ground myself to the earth.
I ground myself
to the earth.
And I accept this healing for my highest good.
And I accept this healing
for my highest
good.
Right, so I'm going to do it in a group setting. So, okay, ultimate dimension. So what we do is we put portals around your Merkabah field so the Melchizedek beings can come from the ultimate dimension in and do things to your body. So everyone, the good thing about it is people often ask me, well, do I get contaminated by other people's energy? The answer is absolutely not, because you've got your own portal around you. It's bonded into a Merkabah field, so nothing else can affect you except for the Melchizedek beings. So let's just do this. Ultimate dimension, 8 portals around each person on this call. Close it off underneath them. Dear God, I command create 12 esoteric Merkabah fields around each person on this call with their sacral point in the center of the Merkabah field. Bond into portals to those Merkabah fields and program a blueprint of that person's DNA and the keys of Enoch so as not to allow anything except for their highest good to enter. Okay, what we're going to do first is we're going to escort any negative entities, attachments out of your body right now. So Melchizedek beings are coming in, so you're going to feel a lightness maybe in the abdomen, some it being pulled out for your torso, out for your tummy button, maybe in your left or right breast, could be in your hips. Should feel a lightness coming over yourself now, if you've got an entity attachment. Okay, so the Melchizedek beings are going to replicate what I do within your portal. So what we're doing is we're going to suck out any residual vibration in the abdomen. So we're putting an esoteric pipe through your tummy button, bag around your abdomen. We're going to suck it out now. Each time we suck out, your abdomen will get lighter, and it may affect your GI. Your intestines might start gurgling. Okay, second one. Third one. Abdomen should be getting lighter. Okay, fourth one. Okay, just before I go any further, we're going to define spirochetes and nanotech as Morgellons, Agent Orange, HIV, or Borrelia Lyme disease. If you've got any of those, you're going to feel tacking energy. If you haven't got them replicating your body, you're going to feel normal energy, like warm, tingly. So let's send some energy into the abdomen. For those of you guys with spirochetes and nanotech, you're going to feel tacking energy. It's very electrostatic. It starts off subtle, then it gets stronger. For you guys without spirochetes and nanotech replicating your body, you're going to start feeling warm, tingly. And your intestines will probably start to gurgle. So it should be getting more warm, tingly, or more electrostatic if you've got spirochetes and nanotech. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to comb your meridian line. So the Melchizedek beings are in your portal within the Merkabah field. They're going to take their hands down your body. So you'll either feel hands go down your body or light or open. We're going from your crown, down your face, the back of your head on the left, down your neck, across your left shoulder, down your arm. On the right, we're doing the same. On the left, we're going down your neck, down your chest, down your abdomen, out to the hip. On the right, we're doing the same. On the left, we're going from your hip, down your thigh, over your knee, down your calf, and out to the foot. On the right, we're doing the same. Right, we're going to check how open your meridians are. So we're going to sweep. If you can imagine, the Melchizedek beings have got their arm just above your crown. They've got a vertical barrier of energy below their arm. They're going to sweep it down 15 times. The quicker you feel it, the more open your meridians are. So let's just do that head to toe. This is 15. So as soon as you feel it, if you pay attention, you'll know how open your meridians. 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, last one. Right, we're going to put energy in the whole body. So again, if you've got spirochetes and nanotech replicating your body, you're going to feel tacking energy. That's going to feel very electrostatic. Sometimes it starts in the hands or feet. Sometimes it's all over the body. It should start subtle and then get stronger. For you guys without spirochetes and nanotech replicating, you're going to start getting warm, tingly, floaty, or really relaxed. So let's accelerate that now. So it should be getting kind of stronger. So you should be getting fairly floaty. Okay, so right, what we're going to do now is we're going to work on the liver and kidneys. Now, again, if you've had an NT, the average liver function on this call is 43%. So it's kind of low. Some people's will be higher, some people's will be lower. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the average right up. So liver and kidneys. Now, even if you've got spirochetes and nanotech, you're going to feel this warm, tingly feeling, the liver and kidneys. So they should start getting warm, tingly. Okay, Melchizedek beings are going in now, so you should feel movement in the kidneys. So it'll either feel like tugging and pulling or like a butterfly movement. Should feel it within 20 seconds. Now what they're doing is they're going into the adrenal glands and they're going to work on the adrenals and clear them out, so you'll get more energy. If your adrenal glands are struggling, they clear the gland out. We're going to also do the thyroid in a minute, which balances the endocrine system. Right, we're going to take the average up, so 43%. So as it increases, when it gets between 60 and 80, your head should start really clearing if your liver function is low. So if you get headaches or heavy head or cloudy. Okay, it's gone up to 54. 58, 64, 71, 76, 83. So head should start clearing now. 88, 94. Okay, 100. It got there. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to work on the GI, so intestines. A lot of people get problems with intestines, they get paralyzed. If you've got an empty, from the waist down, your intestine structure might work at 30% of the speed that it should do further up. So as you eat, as it gets further down, it backs up, it gets bloaty, gurgly, you get, you burn holes in your intestinal lining, or you get diverticulitis. So if you've got some of those things, you're going to feel the Melchizedek beings working on them. If you've got holes in your gut, they're going to use a celestial goo, a very thick energy. It pastes over the holes and it actually closes them off. So that feels like biofreeze in the intestine, or it feels like a wrapping sensation. But everyone should feel, I think everyone on this call has got toxin in their colon, so you're going to feel like a pressure in your colon. It feels like wanting to go to the toilet. They're going in now. So you should feel a pressure in your colon, like wanting to go to the toilet slightly. It won't be a huge amount as they comb the toxin out of the colon. Okay, so we'll leave them in there. That pressure will go off in about 2 or 3 minutes. What we're going to do now is we're going to actually detox your whole body. We have this as a meditation, whole body detox. So what we're doing is accelerating the toxins out of the body. So what you'll feel is like a drawing sensation out of the body, or a cool breeze coming out. People say it feels a bit freaky. Right, 10 seconds from now, cool breeze or drawing sensation. And then we're going to accelerate it 3 times. Do it too quick, it upsets the autoimmune. Okay, if you feel it, it's going to get stronger. If you can't feel it, you should start feeling it as it gets stronger. Stronger. Cool breeze or drawing. Okay, then it should plateau. It should get to a level and sit there. Okay, stronger again. Okay, then it's going to plateau. It's going to get to a level and sit there again. Okay, stronger again. Now that will carry on for 24 hours. What it's doing is drawing toxins out of your body and switching them in space and time, instead of putting them through your organs where it damages the organs. So it's a good way of detoxing the body. I think you can all feel that. Right, let's get busy with the heart chakra. That's the most important thing why people get sick. So what we're going to do is break all soul ties that aren't for your highest good. Anyone you had sex with in the past or got close to, it doesn't matter. If they don't serve you now, we're going to break the soul ties. So let's do that. So the Melchizedek beings are replicating this. So dear God, I grab all the soul ties between each person on this call, anybody who isn't for their highest good, we're going to break them now. I command you bring the fractals of that person's soul back, cleanse them, put them back in their body now, and return the fractals of that person's soul back to them, and cleanse them, put them back in their body. So you should feel a shift in your chest. So what we're going to do now is we're going to send the Melchizedek beings. So what they do is you've got an onion around your heart. So it can be hundreds and thousands of layers. It depends how much emotion. If you've been abused and things, you might have huge amounts. So what we're doing is the Melchizedek beings, they peel a layer of the emotion back. So it's a layer of that energy. And as they peel it back, it gets tight. And then as they release it, it'll release. So you need to, when you feel it release, breathe the energy out. So you're either going to feel tightness in the solar plexus, breastbone, throat, upper back, shoulder, or neck. It can move around, and the intensity can change. Sometimes people do feel it in the lower abdomen, the sacral point, but most of the time it's in solar plexus, breastbone, throat, upper back, shoulders, or neck. So let's start that. We've just got a couple of minutes to do a couple of these. So, okay, it should start getting tight. Okay, it's going to get tighter and tighter. Okay, then it's going to release. As it releases, breathe it out. It's really important. Moves that energy out. Okay, it's going to get tighter again. We'll do 2 more of these and then I better finish. Tighter again. Don't forget, it could be different places. Sometimes it's in the throat. And don't forget, if you've got a thyroid problem, it's because of spillage from the heart chakra into the throat. It paralyzes the thyroid and you get polyps and all sorts of daft things going on. So it should be getting tighter and tighter. Okay, then it's going to release. Okay, one more. Okay, it's going to get tighter and tighter. Tighter and tighter. Okay, then it's going to release. Okay, the last thing we're going to do is send them into your thyroid. So they're going in now. You should feel butterfly movement in the thyroid. They're going to clear the thyroid and parathyroid out, which is really important because if the parathyroid goes dysfunctional, you're going to leach calcium out the bones. It causes all sorts of problems. But we'll have to catch up with that again. I guess we better stop the healing. So let me just put a protection around you. So, dear God, I command that we put a bull of fifth dimensional unconditional around each and every person on this call to protect them from any negative entities, fractals thereof, manipulations and transmissional frequencies that are not for that person's highest good for all space-time continuum in every dimension. And so we thank you, God, send you an unconditional love, and so be it. There you go.
Wow.
Thank you.
Oh,
wow.
my gosh, Chris.
Chris, if a person, because we do post this on our site later, if a person listens to your healing, will that affect them at that point in time?
Oh, yeah, it will, yeah.
So that way those that maybe got in later could check in later to listen to.
Oh, yeah, the recording, by my voice, it invokes the things that we're doing, so absolutely. So it's really good.
Fabulous.
Bless you.
Yeah, it was intense, and it was very relaxing, and I kept wanting to almost go to sleep because it was so nice.
I kept waiting for the next move. Okay, what are you doing now?
Well, we could have done a whole hour of it, because I normally, but we've only done a few things because that's not a whole healing because you have to deal with everything, but it just gives you an example of what it is, and please buy our special, because it helps both of us. It helps you guys and supports you, and I think it's so important. Bless your heart.
Well, it's important for people to reach out to you who want this type of healing, and also just so people understand, when they book a healing with you, Chris, is it a half an hour, an hour? How long of a time period do you work on people for?
Yeah, it's 30 minutes, but actually what happens is when we do all the things we need to do in the 30 minutes, and then normally we ask people to lay down for 2 hours because they carry on. And they'll keep doing it until they're finished. So, if it's cancer, they'll keep attacking energy and keep breaking it down. If it's GI problems, they'll keep working on them for 2 hours. So, so it's half an hour online and then 2 hours offline, and they'll keep working on them. It's really good.
Well, we can't thank you enough for your generosity and sharing your healing with all of our audience members tonight. And again, people go to ChristopherMacklinMinistries.com and you can book your appointment with Chris there. You can also order his books and take part in any of the specials that he is offering to our audience tonight. So we're going to take care of all of that. So you have the information from our Facebook page, but you can also go to ChristopherMacklinMinistries.com. So next week, everybody, we're going to be talking to Simon about Dharma and luck. He's going to change your luck for the better. So we all need a change of luck, don't we, PK?
You think?
I think we do, especially since it's all about money next month and this month. So, Chris, thank you so much again.
Thanks for having us. Bless you all.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. It was terrific. And for everybody, we will be back next week. See you on the Blue Highway. Good night.
Good night.